This is day 714 of Arukh HaShulchan. If you'd like to sponsor, come and share more of the Arukh HaShulchan. Please contact me directly. We very greatly appreciate it. They were doing Simon Tov Mem Hey Sif Vav Simon Tov Mem Vav Sif Gimel. Because I'm a case of beer chametz. How do you do beer chametz? So for a paro is a ruach. You burn it or you pulverize it and scatter it to the windows or because it's the sea. Yom chametz kosher. The chametz is hard. And the sea does not dissolve it, dissipate it quickly. I raise in farachakos or ram. Then he first pulverize it and then throw it to the sea. Akan l'shono. Chain kosav rabbeinu b'seis of zifal. Avatur kosav b'shem ganim b'chom chametz tzarich piro. The Pure does not distinguish whether it's hard or soft. Every chametz has to first pulverize before you put it toss in the sea. Ayin sham. Kenyer le'edim Shas seems to be clear from the Shas as well. The brackets he says here, long brackets. Kaf chesam rav. Rabba. Dilsek kafas gabi Rav Yosef. We pass on Rabba or Rav Yosef. Shal kesem Mishnah. Epas Ram Rav Yosef. The question is then how the kesem Mishnah, how Rama passing like Rav Yosef. You don't always have to be a fire of the chametz. But taz nit chaka ayin sham. Has his difficulty answering that. The Ein Zek Chomach Lokam Sharab Rav Yosef Shas. It's not like all normal arguments in Rab and Rav Yosef Shas. The Shazer Markach was there Markach. Each one has a different opinion. Ubekans Amalei Rav Yosef Rabba. Rav Yosef said to Rabba, Adrab, the contrary, Ifcha Istabro Chulei. The contrary makes sense. Rabba Lo Hishivlo. Rabbi not respond to him. Shemaino de Odolin. In other words, they had a dialogue, and Rabbi not respond to Rabbi Yosef's assertion. Now, Maggid Mishnah appears to keep him by pure. Maggid Mishnah says that wheat has to be pulverized. Which because Maggid runs to come base shechtin and chalokin, you have to cut it into pieces. The lechem will by pure. Bread does not require pulverization. A base says appears to have. A base says the opposite. That bread does require pulverization, but not wheat. Male statements are pure, therefore, you have to, when in doubt, do pure on both. Meaning, we still base a key sense of pure if you throw it down into an outhouse. For us, if you throw it to a toilet, would seem to be the same thing. And so pure does not have to be pulverized, can't cause a Magen Avram. Mishnah Berurah says some say by wheat you don't have to cut up, but you just scatter them in the water so that a person should not be able to gather them up, and that's sufficient. If it's shas at chak, then he has a lot of wheat, and it'll take a long time to pulverize it, and he can rely on just scattering it on the water. Vav, yes, because there's one who wrote, which is Magen Avram, evidently, it's chametz. Now let's do malach when the time to burn the chametz comes upon you. Time shishes meaning from the beginning of the 6th hour, 11 a.m. She's so chametz till the chametz is burned, 11 a.m. equinox time. That's only if the thing you're involved with is not relevant, not connected to Pesach. It's permitted to do it. Since you're involved in matters of Pesach, it's not going to forget to burn the chametz. Okay, it says back in who atzmo he's involved in this is not going to forget. Ches, if not send a chametz and Yehudi come she gave the chametz to the Najir before 11 a.m. You don't have to destroy it. The Mishnah says, unless you should not give oil chametz to Goy, you should leave it at least kazai to fulfill the mitzvah of pure. But if you gave it away, it says Arukh HaShulchan, and so virus and the chametz says some beer because the chametz. You have to give it also to your servants who are non-Jewish. But only small amount of chametz. Which they could eat immediately. I have a chametz a lot of chametz which they would retain or Pesach also is forgiven to give to them, forbidden to give to them. Because since you have to pay them, that's why you have to give them sustenance as part of your deal with them. Looks like you're paying up your debt with something which is prohibited in benefit. So the name of Jews Abach. Mishnah Berurah says that the Chesed Mem, I'm not sure what that is, Chamed Moshe, argues that he doesn't care, doesn't matter if you have to feed him or don't have to feed him, since you're not giving it to him when the time it's usher, it's okay. But you can't tell him explicitly that you should hold the chametz whole Pesach for you, give it to him just generically. and say, here's this chametz, what I owe you even. But then I'm not going to feed you all the rest of the days of Pesach. And also the Marashak agrees with this, and he writes that you should just be careful, however, the guy does not eat chametz in your house. You should take it to a different place. And the reason he says that is because people shouldn't be chesed. You shouldn't suspect that you left over that chametz yourself deliberately. Back to the slaves are his for a year or more. If in that case, you have to give them food. Also, can't give them a lot of chametz. If you do not give them food, they'll show them most, but normally you give them money. They purchase their own food. I feel harbe. Because they use a lot of chametz. As long as you don't deduct from the obligation which you have towards them. On account of the chametz which you're giving them. These barbers have a siman tov nun. Sad to Shema, be clarified later on. Test. If you burned it before the 6th hour, raise and mutal hanas, but b'chamin shelo tocha Pesach. That's why I benefit from the coals with during Pesach. Having started with shishis but you burned it after 6 hours, afternoon. However, also by us it's forbidden. Do I benefit from it? I raise the last thing for mikirain. You can't use the coals to heat up a stove or oven. I shall not cook with them. If you cook or bake with them, also pass that bread which you cooked or baked, in this case, matzah, of course. Also tavshil that cooked dish, asuim bana. You're not allowed to benefit from them. And the coals of the chametz are asabana. Since you burned the chametz after came asabana. What you do with base like William said, the base of the shavush hekdesh, lo nanim neshem dilim mimenu. Can't derive hanoah from a flame of hekdesh, even though the substance is no longer there, because people don't know to separate themselves then from proper hekdesh. Ayin shom koshkin chametz lo b'dilim minei kuli shaita. Certainly, that's the reason the same thing by chametz, which a person is not used to setting to separating himself from the entire year. Yod Yeshua, some say the past ain't Israk Shavuk Negdo. So the bread is only also when the flame is opposite of the bread. Since then there is enhancement comes from the wood in the bread. If it's the chametz itself, bake the matzah. But if there's no fire directly in front of the bread, the chametz was part of what caused this matzah to be baked. But also the oven is necessary. That it should be baked. Again, when it's not directly opposite the flame, but it's in the oven. So there are two causes here, two catalysts: the fire and the oven. Fire might be usher, but the oven is not. Zegorim is mutter. Only if you cook the cooked dish, which doesn't require oven. And the cooked dish is to be also changed because the cooked dish does not require the oven. There are those who argue on this. The word says, even though nobody else ever said gorim is mutter, here that the gorim is wood of isser because it's coals of chametz. When with this the bread is baked, it's clear, more obvious, and it's more obvious, and you can see the enhancement that this wood of chametz is made with your own eyes, and therefore it's like one gorim. That would be awesome. Okay, it says Arukh HaShulchan specifically those who argue say dafka davar sheish bitul, but arla shebetel masayim zemutim zeves gorim. Zeves gorim is a form of bitul, so therefore, if it's something which can be bottom, such as even Orla, which is bought in 200, you can say Zev Zekorim. If you Velobo Chametz and not by Chametz Shein Bitul, you can't be allowed to Chametz does not have Bitul, meaning that it's not Bitul in another substance. The Surba Mashu, because this is as small as a tiny speck. Akapani Mashu Miyeka. And there's at least a Mashu which is not going to be Batel, not going to be nullified there. Those who Means if you ches, I jump behind this bar, show me Allah Chassan Yam Melech, explains itself certainly Yam Korlan Yudi Chusmin Israel, and also in terms of selling something to a non-Jew, besides the prohibited value of prohibited substance which is in the mixture. The Allah writes that if you heat up the oven with both chametz and other wood, then it's mamish are going to be okay. The Tasman Evram, however, see the machmir in that. So Arukh and Shachas and the Gra are making on that. Therefore, b'shas of chag is something to eat, or it's a place that has a merubah, substantial loss. You rely on the kula of zev zeh goring mutter. Mishmur says further, if the bread if the questionable bread got mixed up in other person matzah got mixed up with other matzah, so the Arukh say that you can sell the entire kit kat and caboodle, the entire product which is in doubt to a non-Jew, except for the Mei Yisrael, which you're not allowed to take from him. But there should be only, it says it has to be a case where you can be careful that he's not going to resell it to another Jew. And even if it's not mixed together, it's also such a zakana. Sell everything to a non-Jew except for the Mei Yisrael. Those who say, no, if it's not mixed together, you can't sell it to a non-Jew. Well, if it's Hefsei Meruba, Shas Chag says Mishnah, you can be lenient. Yurav, Okas Abasiv Gimel, Konas Mani Suro, for a time becomes Asur Yachol, Ashlichol, Milakom, Sharvim, Tzim Sham, you can cast your chametz in a place where there are ravens. If you find your chametz after it became forbidden, the ravens did not eat it. The place is basically hefker. Nevertheless, not leave the chametz, should destroy it. I got a end quote from the Ramah. It's not a place where you threw a new place in the street which is after. You can't have then you even find out time of the prohibition. So what? You're already mafkir before the time of this. There's no greater hefker than that. A kavan really means you toss in the middle of your yard. The b'sham between Arvin, it happens to be a lot of ravens. I mean, outside, like they say, chatzer, a courtyard, answer b'dika. That's not be threat. Because ravens are there, and they take stuff away. Including the chametz. Mr. Pura says that this halacha is only, in fact, works when you're in a street which is a hefker place and not in your own chutzah, assuming you found it after the Zman Isser. And then he writes elsewhere that if he was mafkir and tossed in the sea before the time became aser, obviously then you have no obligation to beer. So this morning or in the afternoon when you're making a dough, as yet become chametz. So not you don't have obligation to the beer. No, I'm missing that. Forgive, scratch that last thing I said. Just if you mafkir the chametz before and toss it away before the Zman, you don't have an obligation to go find it and destroy it with fire. Okay. Okay, back to Arukh HaShulchan. So, if you find the chametz, you thought the ravens would eat, but they didn't. Bad luck. You have to destroy it. Because it's in your jurisdiction. That means even though the place is hefker, not halachic hefker. Perishishtil, let's say Arvin, but you toss into your place which is hefker, if it's to be the ravens, then you can assume that it was enough. Mainly, so can ask mutar lasos came. How can you possibly do this? When we learn when the mouse takes chametz away from in front of us, we have to check. The doubt that maybe the mouse ate doesn't eliminate the possibility of v'alei chametz. I ain't jump. How we lie to us chametz out into your yard, and assuming that ravens are going to eat it. So it shouldn't glow down. It's not comfortable. The dafka achbar, specifically a mouse, mishum the dark got rare because it normally drags stuff. L'chari is talking to holes and crevices. Who did sarg bedika? That's what requires bedika afterwards. Mashkin bar is opposed to ravens, where they usually consume lock, stock, and barrel. They don't hide it. V'zel hakam. Sorry, V'zel kokar is nice. So there's also before the time it comes prohibited. Not afterwards. Also, should I feel klavim shem shlo? But after the time, it's also by no. Now it even to throw the chametz to the dog, which is not yours. I mean, Rishon Reish Ber Kol Shah. Rishon says that Rishon lo yechal chametz. I feel klavim can't chametz not being even by the dogs. Manakim we talk about im lekalbo rei isranoya. You can't feed to your dogs chametz because it's also by no. I feel klavim, but even when eating, giving to another animal to eat, and there's no direct isranoya to you, you can't do that. I feel that this mention also achilim behemoths hefker. So you can't give this chametz to an animal even which is hefker. Hakal Shon end quote. Brack says here because of her Ramah, the Imlamat saw chametz shabbat. We didn't find chametz, so you check for it. Ravens hit it well. So hakli shalak aklibdika. You should burn the vessel you took for the checking. They shloish kach chavas biur. Even though you don't have any chametz, if you have that vessel, you should burn it. Hakashon. Kvanis person tam lan beis akach no kima near chametz is bdika. Says every other minute you put out the crumbs during bdika. Then shlo teiva some chos vatos. So broken not be v'tola. Ayin shom melish yelo ma levar. And of course he has blood to destroy. Tough memvav. You know most of the chametz is pesach me'asebo. So if he finds chametz a vessel, what should he do with it? Aleph, Isabagara, Moti Chametz, the base of Yontif. If you have chametz in your house, you have to kofel of a sleeve, put a vessel on top of it. It's not suitable to carry out because like muktzah on Yontif. Meal by Roy Lava, but by Roy don't transgress. Though they believe but mesmo. Already nullified from before the time Isser. We just consume might come to eat it. Tzarek Vias will clear that he had to put a vessel on top of it. Hakam Shana. Avoid Varvat skipping what he says. You low but low chametz and esrog. If you negate the chametz, not very chametz previous day. Over by a raw, you do violate by raw. Low side clear. It's not just good enough to put a killing on top of it. Zel tas atur b'shem achi Rabbi Nechil shkashem yachol sarv v'yantif. He says you can't burn on yantif. Can't be sheish k'tzatz mitzvah straight also. So we have independent mitzvah in burning it. I mean, we say, don't shoot travel. It's burning. It's permitted when it's necessary. It's also permitted when it's not necessary. Low bitlo there if he wasn't vatul chametz. You'll see Yisrael Yisrael fenu. Go out and burn it. They should have amazing. They shouldn't deliberately violate prohibition of chametz. Shatol el b'shogeg. So now it's only inferent. Hinkasab say mitzvah and also written say mitzvah that way. Definitely is an end quote from the Torah. Yeah, base. Vizel Lishon is smart. Basim. The smart says as follows. Kofel of a kli putting the vessel top perish to beat the mark. So we were mavato. Mitoch shel hutra uchulei. Sham shlotzach. And Havor is also mutter. I skipped one. Perish bitlo mark. If you low bitlo haya kuzachol serving out. You weren't mavato it. You could have burnt it on Yontif. Mitoch shutros it's uchulei. Uchunam shos so it's burning is permitted. For when necessary, it's also permitted when it's not necessary. Besides, there's a little bit of tzarich yontif involved. Hakal Shona end quote. Chen kasav Rana and Shamram writes the thing. V'avagav shechametz having muktzah gomerin the chametz is total muktzah. Shein royal kumus not suitable for anything. Also by now because the forbidden right benefit. Come nonetheless they isu by royal cheshu muktzah derabanan. Right, it's a muktzah derabanan in order to prevent ourselves being over by a royal, which is a deraisa. The comments going to speak. Kimmel, I have a tour because I have most of the comments. So, we Muyantav Yesha Shikbel, Clear Chalali Shilciano. It's a fennel. Someday you should put a veil of it and over it until you take it on 9 and burn it. I'll be out the pain you call Taz look at the seal. But on Yontif, you can't move it. It goes out saying if you mevatel if you mevatel chametz that they didn't let you take it out. And I feel no bitlo if you weren't mevatel chametz. It's the right that you come by this was by raw. If you lucky nevertheless you shouldn't take it out. Came kedino because you can't do the proper biur, which is burning. The item is safe Rabbi like Rabbi holds. So therefore, um, you shouldn't take it out because you can't burn it. It's the point. So by Sotu B'chametz is in the house. B'Yudaj Chalios B'Shabbos when our Pesach comes on Shabbos. Achar shows after 5 hours. Aval Achiv Chulei, whatever. Lormi Mitok Shusha Avar L'Tzorach Uchol Lamishol. So we don't say that because burning is minute for the Tzorach. It's also minute not L'Tzorach, not for the needs of the day. As long as it's so it has to be said that some purpose is there for the purpose of Yontif. Mashkel Isur Mikri Shelo Isur Mikri Shelo Tzorach Klam. But if it's in terms of the prohibition, it's considered something which is not a tzorach at all, and therefore it retains its prohibition, and still there's an obligation to burn it.